What is going on, guys? In this video, I'm going to be going over the Bravado Greenwood here on GTA Online. Now, I'm sure you probably noticed this vehicle in some of the new missions, and well, I wanted to test it out to really see what it can do. So if you wanted to buy this car, you're looking at about $1.1 million with the trade price, and without it, about 1.4, almost 1.5 million or so. And this is going to be in the muscle category. I did end up taking this thing for a test drive before, and I was honestly pretty dang impressed with it for how fast it was. And it does look pretty dang cool as well. I do like those tires on there. It does fit the car pretty nicely. Do keep in mind, by the way, if you guys would like to, you can also add the Amani tech to this vehicle in your agency building. I believe you can have the lock-on jammer thing on it and or the remote controlled vehicle thing. You can also add some armor plating to it, which should probably help it eat at least one rocket, at least maybe. But besides that, the vehicle is going to be pretty dang normal, and it's also a muscle car, as I mentioned before, so it should be pretty dang fast. But let's go customize it. So now jumping into the customization of the new Bravado Greenwood, let's see what can actually be done to this vehicle. So let's throw the armor on there. Then we have the body trim. So rear cage. I believe it's going to be inside there. You can kind of see it a little bit. There's the full cage. We're going to have the side trim delete, which takes that piece off the side, which is kind of cool, but I also kind of like how that looks on the vehicle. The blacked out trim there. And finally the painted trim. So for me, I'm going to go with the blacked out one. Let's add the brakes to the vehicle there. Let's check out the bumper. So we're going to have 4 other ones. Ooh, the bumper delete looks kind of awesome on this thing. I'm not going to lie. Kind of like that. And there's the painted one after that, besides the chrome, I believe. Then we're going to have the, looks like an upgraded one, making it look like, like a sports vehicle. We're going to have the bigger one down there. So for me, I think I'm going to go with the bumper delete, even though this does kind of look a little odd without it. So I'm going to end up adding the bumper delete to the car, which I might end up changing later on depending on what I might find and or the color I do choose for this vehicle, which I'm thinking blue at the moment. Let's do the rear bumpers here. That'll make it painted, which looks pretty nice. Then we're going to have the black rear bumper. So I'm going to go with the painted. And then the engine here. Oh, we can actually upgrade the engine. That's pretty cool. So there will be some detail to it for the most part on the top of the block there. See which ones we should add to it. Trumpets. Oh, that's going to... Oh, look at that. That looks kind of insane. I kind of like how that looks. That one does look pretty cool as well. So I might end up adding one of these blowers to the vehicle just because they do look pretty insane. There's the other one there. And then finally the last one, which I don't really like how that looks too much. So for me, I'm going to end up going with this one here. Engine tunes, let's max it out here. Move down to the exhaust. So let's check these out. So the first one's the left single exit, which does look pretty cool. The dual, not really liking that one too much. Then we have the, double single. Then a double single. Then we have the slanted long bore exhaust there, which I kind of actually like how those look on this car specifically. Even those as well. I'll put those on there for now. Then we're going to have the twin exhaust there. Those look pretty nice as well. Then we're going to have an exit exhaust, which does look pretty cool. Coming out the bottom there, looks like titanium and or aluminum. Got the blue color on it there. And then moving over to the painted side exits, which is basically going to be the same color of the car as well. So depending on what you guys want as your setup, I think these would look pretty awesome on there. Then we'll have the chrome one. Then we're going to move over to the headlight covers here. So there's only going to be 2 of these. So we have that one and then the secondary one. So for me, I'm probably going to leave those off of the vehicle. And then moving down to the lights here, so for me, I'm probably going to end up throwing on the LEDs. Let's move over to the liveries. So we have the white stripes, kind of like that. Then the rear stripe on the back there, looks pretty good. We have the classic one, which I'm guessing can't really see that right now, or I'm tripping out. Probably because of the color of it. Then we have this one, Invincible, goes on the hood. Looks pretty cool with the engine as well. And we're going to have the classic full stripes on the side. And the Bravado one, which I do think this one does look really good on the car. I might end up adding that to it. Then we have the stickered up there. And the corkers. Moving down to limited gasoline, which makes a lot of sense. Then we're going to have the last one over here. And then finally that, which is going to be the green, which looks very interesting. Kind of gives me a lot of lowrider feels on that. Imagine taking this thing in there. Let's head down to the lowers. We get the back one, which is painted, and then finally the black, which I'll probably just leave this off the vehicle as well. Let's move down to the mirrors. There's going to be 12 of these. Wow. So we have the missile mirror, secondary, then the plastic. And then moving over to the flat front mirrors, I'm not really digging these all that much either. Here's the next ones. And then finally the plastic, then moving down to the secondary. We'll have the retro, which I think these are actually going to be my favorite. And then moving down to the next one, I do think the retro do look the best on this vehicle, although I could be tripping out. Then we'll have the plastic retro mirrors. And then finally the secondary color ones, which I'll probably end up putting that on the vehicle. moving down to the plate, which really doesn't matter. Then we're going to have the respray. So for this, I decided to go with a blue color on this car. I feel like that might be the best option for me, at least, to really see what it could look like. So I'm going to go with the ultra blue. And then for the pearlescent, I'm going to end up making this black as well, like going basically with a secondary color like that. So let's do that right now. Head all the way up to the top. Add that to it, then let's head over to the secondary colors. Cast iron silver is a no for me. I'm going to end up making this the black color as well, even though I do not know what actually is changing colors. Head over to the trim color as well, which I'll probably just leave that graphite. Let's move over to the roof upgrades here. So we got the secondary painted roof, which looks pretty nice. Give the trim color as well. So I'm going to leave that stock. I think that looks really good with the blue roof on there, matching the vehicle. Heading over to the spoilers now. Kind of cool with the antenna on the back. The lip. I do like the small lip on there. Looks pretty cool on this vehicle. There's a large lip and we have the small wing, which also fits the car pretty nicely. The bigger wing there. And then I feel like these are going to get a little ridiculous now, which they are. You do not need downforce on this vehicle. Like, what in the world is that? Imagine seeing this outside with a wing like that on the back. Like, what? Let's move over to the suspension here. Might as well lower this all the way down. Do the transmission upgrade and then the turbo. And then when it comes to the wheels, I'm basically just going to upgrade the tires so I cannot get them shot out if I'm doing a mission or something with this car, because I do like the stock tires on this car. I do feel like these rims actually fit the car the best, and the tires also look really good on this vehicle, so I'm going to end up leaving these on there and not changing that. Let's add the light spoke to it. Now there's a few things I did want to go back and change to this. Let's do that now. So I do want to make this over here. Let's go with the retro alt. And I also want to see what the vehicle might look like with the front bumper on it real fast. So I did end up adding the bumper back to this car because I do feel like it looks a lot better with it. Now that'll pretty much do it for the customization of the Bravado. And let's go do an outside look at this vehicle to get a closer look at it and check out the detail of it. Then I'm going to take this thing on a little test drive to really see how it might drive and actually perform around the city. Then let's do a top speed run over by that tunnel to really see what this car could get to. So now taking an outside look of the new Bravado Greenwood, I gotta admit one thing, I really do think this car does look really good in blue. I really don't know what made me do that, but it turns out it does fit it pretty dang nicely with the black stripes going down the side and the black finish around the car as well. Plus those rims look honestly way better than most of the other rims in the game do, so I really don't see a point of changing those on it. Let's see if we can actually open this thing up. So let's hit the vehicle doors here. Oh, look at that. So we got some detail of the car there, of the trunk. See the back seats. Then the interior view, which I'll show again in a second here. We're going to see the insane engine in the front of this vehicle. It does have some nice detail to it. I'm glad they actually made the block look detailed and not like some pixelated stuff kind of like on the bottom over there, because some of the vehicles I was kind of upset with how the detail of them were, but luckily all the new cars recently seem to look really dang good. But why don't we go take this thing on a test drive? So I figured before I take this vehicle on a test drive, let's take a closer look at the interior, which does honestly look pretty dang cool. At the back, you can see the back of the car, spin all the way around. See a little indicator of the handbrake, plus, you know, the miles per hour, and then the RPM will go up as well. I would love to see one of these vehicles actually redline at 10,000. And this thing just did a wheelie, which if you guys were wondering, this is a muscle car as I mentioned, so luckily it can do that, which is honestly pretty funny. So we accelerate a bit. So for this vehicle being in the muscle category with this nice classic look, I'm actually really liking this car so far when driving it. I think it's pretty fun to drive. It moves, it's quick. It doesn't handle all that bad either, which is pretty awesome. Is it going to be fast and like the Hellfire? Probably not, but it might honestly get pretty dang close, because I was flying around the city with this thing doing like 130 plus, because you know how the bumps really make the vehicles a lot faster. Don't run into anybody. So currently I'm doing about 130 or so, and I am the one running the red light. My goodness, obey the laws there, bud. Let's go back this way here. Many players will probably get this thing on trade price anyway, because they'll be doing the missions in this update, so they'll most likely get this vehicle for a little bit cheaper. So $1.1 million for something like this, I really don't think is all that bad. Now let's head over to the highway, if I can get there without hitting anything else. See, the handling around that turn was honestly pretty decent as well. Sometimes these cars are really bad, specifically muscle cars, which are really not made to turn at high speeds even in real life. Now I'm not saying they can't, because a lot of them really can do that, but they're really not made for that, and or they may struggle because of the weight and all that, but I don't think that will be affecting this vehicle all that much. I do think it turns pretty dang nicely for what it is. Let's head over to the highway as I mentioned, once I can finally get over there. I would say out of all the vehicles I've driven so far in this update, I'm really not upset with any of them at the moment. So if you guys want to buy one of them just because, I would recommend just picking one of them up, because every car does seem to be pretty dang fun to drive for the most part so far. They all seem to be pretty dang fast. None are really slow. I mean, the electric e-tron looking thing is probably going to be kind of on the slower side, because it doesn't really have a top speed there. But even 115 will still be pretty dang good, even on flat ground, compared to many of the other cars in the game. Plus, it'll be really fast in acceleration. I think a car like the Bravado here will have a lot of character to it, which will make it really fun to drive. And it also looks really good as well. So on the flat highway ground, for the most part, I'm doing a little over 120, which I know the odometers could be kind of wrong. I do not have that special odometer reading. I think that's on PC. I am on console, so I do not have that. But I do believe the car is probably going to be doing around 120 plus, because I am moving past these cars at a pretty dang decent speed. Even the lights on the car look really cool as well. Look at the tail lights on there. I do love the blue color with the black stripes going down the side and the finish. This car is really nice. I do like this thing. So interior, I'm still doing 120 or so down this highway over here. Now let me spawn over to where the tunnel is, and let's do a top speed run on the way back. So now that we are over by the tunnel with the new Bravado Greenwood, I have to admit one thing by driving this over here is I'm honestly pretty dang impressed with this vehicle so far. I mean, I do think it will be worth over $1 million if you guys are into these sort of vehicles. It can wheelie as well, which will make this thing really fun, but I was holding over 120 miles an hour basically the entire time on the highway there. So let's go do the top speed run. Can't really do a wheelie off the road. That would make no sense. Let's go this way. Accelerate a bit. So the acceleration is really nice when launching like that. Almost hitting 100 miles an hour pretty fast there through the tunnel. Almost at 120 now. That's also why I didn't put that other hood on the vehicle as well, because I feel like I couldn't actually see anything in first person mode. So I'm over 120 now. The overall stability and handling of this car really is not that bad either for what it is. I mean, look, that's really not that bad. Pretty much like most of the other sports cars and some of the other vehicles as well in the game do the same thing. So from what I could see, the top speed of this car is going to be around 130 miles an hour, maybe around 128 or so, which is honestly pretty dang good for it being a muscle car. The one thing I did notice, though, is the overall acceleration might be kind of low compared to some of the other vehicles, but I still do think the Greenwood is pretty dang impressive for what it is, and for around 1.1 million with the trade price, you really can't go wrong. Around 1.5 might be a little steep because you're kind of getting into a different category, and you could probably get more cars for that money. Let me know what you guys think about this car in the comments below, and thank you all so much for watching.